Hi everyone, join me in today's video, get your art supplies and let's paint together. While we're painting, let's talk about an artist's favorite topic, discipline. So here's the thing, if you want to be a serious artist, discipline is non-negotiable. Yeah, I know it sounds harsh. It's like, I got into art because I don't want rules, okay? But hear me out, discipline doesn't have to be the enemy. It's not just about forcing yourself to sit down and paint when you'd rather binge watch your favorite show, which, let's be real, happens more often than we'd like to admit. It's about showing up for yourself, for your art, even when you're not feeling that magical, elusive inspiration. It's kind of like going to the gym, except instead of lifting weights, you're lifting a paintbrush. Because let's face it, some days the canvas fights back. But if you wait for the perfect mood, or the ideal lighting, or that mystical burst of creative genius, you'll never get anything done. Trust me, I've tried. And fun fact, waiting around doesn't pay the bills or fill up your portfolio. You can be disciplined and still have fun. It doesn't have to be this joy-sucking, soul-crushing experience. It can be more like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and paint for an hour. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, at least I put some paint on the canvas and didn't just stare at my phone for 3 hours. Baby steps, right? It's hard, I know. We all have that little voice that tells us we're not good enough or that our work isn't real art. But here's the truth. You don't need permission to take yourself seriously. You don't need someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, congrats, you're a real artist now. You're already an artist. If you're making art, you're an artist. It's that simple. So the next time that little voice pops up, just tell it to take a seat. Now, I'm not saying every day is going to be a masterpiece. In fact, most days won't be. But showing up consistently, even when you're not feeling it, is where the real magic happens. It's in the messy, awkward, imperfect moments that you actually grow as an artist. And guess what? Those paintings you're not totally in love with, they still count. They're still part of your journey. They're proof that you showed up, that you put in the work. So, if you're watching this and feeling like discipline is something you'll never master, trust me, I'm right there with you. It's a constant battle between I should be painting and maybe I'll just take a nap. But here's the secret. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Even if it's just a little bit every day, it adds up. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. So here's to building discipline, taking ourselves seriously and making the time for our art, even when it feels like the last thing we want to do. Because at the end of the day, that's how you grow. That's how you get better. And the hardest part, it's not even the painting itself. It's making yourself start. Half the battle is sitting down, setting up your brushes, and convincing yourself that, yes, you can actually do this today. And trust me, I have a PhD in procrastination. Sometimes we just have to get up without being motivated and inspired. And that is hard, really, really hard. I can find 27 things to do instead of starting a painting. Need to reorganize your sock drawer? I'm your girl. But eventually you realize that waiting for the perfect moment or just the right inspiration is like waiting for a unicorn to show up and give you painting lessons. It's not happening. But then once you're in it, something magical happens. It's like a flow takes over. Before you know it, hours have passed, your brushes are covered in paint and you're like, oh wow, look at me actually being productive. And speaking of productivity, let's talk about perfectionism for a minute. Perfectionism is the worst. It's like an invisible little gremlin that whispers in your ear, this isn't good enough, why bother? And then before you know it, you've convinced yourself that you'll never finish that painting because it's not the one. We all have that painting, the one we start, get halfway through and then go, you know what, this is garbage. And then we abandon it to the land of unfinished projects. But here's the truth, not every painting has to be a masterpiece. It doesn't need to be your personal Mona Lisa. Sometimes the best thing a painting can give you is the practice, the learning experience. And honestly, that's enough. Take this one, for example, I've been working on for what feels like 84 years. It's not perfect. I've stared at it, agonized over it, repainted parts of it more times than I care to admit. But guess what? I'm finishing it anyway. Why? Because leaving paintings unfinished is like having a constant to-do list in your brain. They're just there, staring at you, haunting you. And I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. Plus, let's face it, if I keep waiting for it to be perfect, I'll never finish it. And here's nothing is ever going to be perfect, and that's okay. Perfection is overrated. In fact, perfection is boring. What's interesting is growth. And you only get that by pushing through those unfinished pieces, the messy middle stages, the I don't know what I'm doing moments. So, yeah, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not always fun. It's not about being inspired every single day. It's about doing the work even when you're not feeling it, even when you think your painting looks like a soggy piece of toast. We've all been there. But it's those moments where you push through that really matter. Those are the moments that define your growth as an artist. Once you've built that discipline, it starts to feel like second nature. It becomes easier to show up to the canvas, to trust yourself, to know that even if today's painting isn't the next great masterpiece, it's still worth doing. You're still making progress, one brushstroke at a time. And really, isn't that what it's all about? And I think for now, I have talked enough. Let's enjoy the music and keep working. that's it for today. I hope you liked our joint painting session and you will join me again next week. Have a great week filled with art and creativity. Bye.